Good morning and welcome to Pit Stop with Traffic Jam Jimmy, and boy do we got an exciting show today. I'm out here in historic Havre de Grace, Maryland, and that is the Concord Lighthouse in front of me. And joining me this morning is the Mayor Bill Martin. Mayor, good morning, sir.
Awesome to be here with you.
All right, I'll tell you what we want to do. We want to talk about a little history of Havre de Grace. So let's start at the beginning. When was it actually established?
Well, I'll tell you what, Havre de Grace area was founded around the early mid-1600s, but it wasn't until the Marquis de Lafayette during the Revolutionary War came here, and he noticed it was so beautiful, reminded him of his home in France, Le Havre, and he nicknamed it Havre de Grace, Harbor of Grace, and that's where we got our name.
Harbor of Grace. That was my next question.
That's where we got our name.
The Harbor of Grace.
That's our little French connection there.
Okay, very good. So you established in the late 1700s came, and then 1813 wasn't a good year, was it?
Well, no, so Havre de Grace was a little town back then in 1813, so the British put their eyes on us during the War of 1812. They did some commerce raiding up and down Chesapeake Bay, and we were definitely a target. May 3rd, 1813 was a dark day. The British came and burned half our town to the ground, but you know what? I always say May 4th, 1813 was the most important day, because that's when we came back and rebuilt the city.
Gotcha. Now, was there anything that survived the burnout?
Well, there's about 60 homes back then, and they burned about 40. So we have 20 structures that survived, and of those 20 structures, we have 13 or 14 still remaining.
Well, the old church, right?
The old church is one of them, yes.
All right, I'll tell you. And if
St. John's Church.
If you've never been to Havre de Grace, take a day trip. It's the top of the Chesapeake Bay, right?
Correct. It's the top of the bay or the start of the bay. Depends if you're coming down the river or up the bay. But Havre de Grace is where the Susquehanna River ends its journey from New York, Pennsylvania, and comes right here. And the Chesapeake Bay starts right here.
All right, and in front of us is the Concord Lighthouse. When was that built?
The Concord Lighthouse was built in the 1820s. I think it opened in 1827. It's one of the oldest lighthouses in the state of Maryland, and it's still continually operates with an original Fresno lens on top of it. And the tours are open on the weekends.
Wow. And it's right out on the water there.
Right on the water.
So where does the bay and the Susquehanna, they all meet up here?
The best thing I can tell you is if you're standing right here at the Concord Lighthouse, that is the geographical mark of where the Susquehanna meets the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay, very good.
Yes, sir.
So look, we got some families joining here now. Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, hi. What's your names?
Chad, Amber, Deacon, and Zeke Wilson.
All right. Nice to meet you. I got Mayor Bill with me.
Oh, hi, Mayor Bill.
Hey, good to see y'all. Absolutely. Great to see you.
So you came up to visit. See that? They just said they... All right.
Welcome to Havre de Grace.
There you go. They live in Jarrettsville, but they came up for the day. This beautiful family, and I'm telling you, if you're your family, bring them up and take a look. And recently, you had a water festival, right? And it started out on a Friday night with the lighted boat shows.
The lighted boat parade was phenomenal. It's definitely one of the highlights of the year, the boat parade, and we had a great waterfront festival that lasted all weekend. But I tell you what, in Havre de Grace, we like to have a good time. We have a festival almost every month. Next month, on September 26th, it's the Wine and Seafood Festival. And October 16th, it's the Oktoberfest down here at Concord Point Park. You know, in November, we have an Oyster Festival right before the weekend before Thanksgiving. Like, there's always something to do in Havre de Grace. We have Christmas parades, tree lightings, giant 30-foot trees we get. I'll tell you, it's a place where stuff is always happening.
Always something to do. All right, let's step back. We got jumped a little bit of history track
here.
Yeah. So now we're talking the canal. When was the canal built, and how important was that?
Good question. Havre de Grace is a port city by all definition. I mean, at least a long time ago it was. In the mid-1830s, the federal government funded the most expensive project up to that date for the federal government. They built the Susquehanna Tidewater Canal that went from Havre de Grace to Wrightsville, Pennsylvania, about 38 miles. But that's because the Susquehanna River is so rocky, it was hard to have consistent trade.
Rocky and shallow.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's that last little bit between, Wrightsville, PA and Havre de Grace that was unnavigable, and they built that canal. And it's what truly made Havre de Grace a port city. And also, I believe, is what gave Havre de Grace its diversity. You got a port city, you're going to have diversity.
Right. And they were able to ship and receive stuff from Philly to Baltimore.
100%. It really opened up commerce and trade, and from Baltimore to Harrisburg and back and forth. It was great.
And then in 1860s area, then the railroad came through, and that really expanded things.
That's when they built the bridges. Every railroad had to go through Havre de Grace because geographically the bay is so wide, and it only narrows when it gets right here to Havre de Grace. And so originally trains would be put on barges and put across the river, but you're right. In the 1860s they built the bridge. And so everyone traveling up and down the East Coast of the United States had to come through Havre de Grace, whether they stopped here or not.
And that helped the goods to be able to be shipped to, like I said, Philly and Baltimore easier.
Correct. That's exactly right.
All right, so let's see here. Now, another thing you're famous for, I heard, was duck hunting. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, going back to the mid to late 1800s, it didn't take rocket scientists to figure out the way the bay is located. And this large area up here we call the Flats. It's a huge circular geographic area of shallow, grassy bay water. Ducks always would land here on their way up, to and from north and south, and all kind of species of ducks. But I'll tell you what, it became very, very quickly that people began having their livelihood trapping these ducks and duck hunters. And so very famous people would come here to duck hunt.
And you have a museum, a decoy museum.
That's right. Havre de Grace is the decoy capital of the world, and we have the decoy museum right here in Havre de Grace. Just look about 100 yards here from the lighthouse, and also a maritime museum.
Is the museum real?
100%. It's not a decoy. We're not faking anybody. It's real. When you walk in there, you'll see a bright smile and say, "Welcome to Havre de Grace Decoy Museum."
All right, and now we're going to step forward, and they built a racetrack here. Tell us all about the racetrack.
They did. They actually built a very good racetrack here in Havre de Grace, and I think it opened around 1912 time period, and it ended around early 1950s, 1953, 1954. But it was a big racetrack. They had some big races. Man of War raced here back in the 30s. I'll tell you what, it was a big deal. So it used to be Pimlico, it used to be Havre de Grace, and the nickname was called the Grawl.
The Grawl.
So if you any old time 1930s, 40s newspapers, big horses races at the Grawl and Pimlico.
Gotcha. All right. So I said in the beginning that the Smithsonian Magazine named Havre de Grace one of the best small towns in America. Tell people why it's the best small town in America.
The answer is simple to that. First of all, our slogan that we have for our city is "Discover your Maryland in Havre de Grace." Because here's the thing: other than the mountains or the seashore, we have everything you need. We got outdoor recreation. We have wonderful restaurants. We have great history. We have the waterfront, sailing. Anything you need. And plus, it's a safe community. We're consistently ranked in the FBI's database of reported crime 1 or 2 as one of the top safest cities in the state of Maryland. I mean, the community is very tight knit. They welcome people. You live here for one day, you're called a Havre de Grace citizen. It's very opening for the community. Plus, our schools are phenomenal. I tell you what, Jimmy, we got a new high school, middle school opening up this year. It's a great community. We got everything going for it. If you want to experience Maryland, Havre de Grace is where you experience. It's a great place to live. Friendliest people I've ever met.
I could say, well, just look at the people here. Just came up and take a walk with their families. And like I said, if you've never been to Havre de Grace, take a day trip either on a weekend or during the week and just come up and enjoy everything they have to offer.
Absolutely.
Well, Mayor,
thanks for coming up today. Absolutely.
And like I said, we'll end right here at the beautiful Concord Lighthouse.
Thank you very much.